Blah blah blah. Okay, I had something that I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah,
What's your take on this pulling out of Afghanistan? I
think it's about time for me.
You think it's about time?
I think this would have happened if we'd done it in 10 years, 100 years, or I think this would have been the outcome if we'd pulled out immediately after accomplishing our combat mission there, which was to get rid of Al Qaeda. So I think we should have pulled out then. You know, I think we
Right.
should have pulled out in like early 2002.
Yeah, oddly enough, you agree with Mike Bolton, the
Or, yeah, yeah,
the guy with the mustache. Uh,
which
he basically said,
is
like,
distasteful.
once we got in there, as soon as we killed Obama, he said we should have handed him the Federalist.
Osama.
What?
Osama.
Oh, right. Whoops. Well, he might have said the other.
It is Bolton, yeah.
Right, right. Um, as soon as we killed Osama, he said we should have handed him the Federalist Papers. I'm not sure why that one specifically, but and moved on.
That's weird.
Yeah. But I got the premise of what he was saying. Like, we did what we came here to do, and then at that point on, it was nation building, and that was the term
bad idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree, but I have a very unpopular belief system on this stuff, and I'm somewhat my long-term view is I don't really believe in countries or anything like that. I'm really a globalist that believes that mankind needs to work together, and we're obviously going to get there with the environment to the point where we don't have a choice. But in the meantime, if we're going to play the game of countries, I am somewhat of a nationalist, and that word has been tainted by the alt-right. So I'm not a white nationalist. I'm just, and I think that basically we should have gone over there and we should have said, listen, Afghanistan, in your country, some bad stuff happened and it killed 4,000 of us.
Right.
We want that guy. You can either help us get that guy, or you can say that you're going to take care of it on your own. If you do not take care of it on your own, this entire country is going to be irradiated glass, for lack of a better term. Basically, you need to take care of your stuff. We're happy to help you, but we're not going to just sit by and allow this to happen. Now, let's talk about it. Let's work together. Let's get it done. But if you continue to allow these things to go on, we're not going to come in to build a nation. We're not going to come in to find Obama or Osama. But we're going to put an end to this situation.
Well, that's exactly what we did do, sans the, nuking everyone.
I know, irradiated glass is really just for poetic license. I don't really think that we need to nuke the place.
But we did go to them and we're like, hey, give us Al Qaeda. And they were like, hey, screw you. And so we're like, okay. So we came in and we got Al Qaeda and we took down the Taliban.
Yeah, at that point, I kind of feel like we should say your country is ours now.
I'm not a huge fan of like extractive imperialism.
I'm not either. But
like annexed Afghanistan, I think that would have been a horrible thing to do.
It maybe it would, but I mean, if your belief system is killing us, we have to do something about it.
I mean, but that's true of so much of the world. We're not popular.
No. And that's part of the problem. The reason why we're not popular is because we've been meddling, and we shouldn't be meddling.
Exactly. Right. Should we go into Venezuela and kill radical groups there? I think there might be more radical groups down the line if that's what we do. So
yeah, they start attacking our people. Yeah, we should.
Right. I mean, look, it was a direct attack and it was huge in proportion. So I think it was worth doing. But I don't think, I think we should have gone in, done our stuff, and left. I don't even think we should have waited until we found Osama bin Laden. I think we could have easily come back later, right? I think we got rid of Al Qaeda. We got rid of the infrastructure by which Osama was capable of like hurting us. And, I think it should have been a couple month thing. But back then, this is all the Bush administration's fault, basically. And they were very into the mindset of nation building, which is just a muddled mindset because we are an imperial power and our wealth depends on other countries being poor. Like our entire system of globalism depends on, people being willing to sell their goods and labor for us at a fraction of its worth because, they don't have a choice but to participate in the world economy. So and democracy costs money. You never get a stable democracy that's incredibly poor. So if we wanted them to be a stable democracy, we would have needed to make them be not a poor country, which is completely counter to our foreign policy goals
right
over the world. We want countries to be poor. We have in the long term this rising tide lifts all boats goals, but we want them to be at the very least poorer than us so that we can get stuff from them on the cheap, right?
Right. Yeah.
So the idea that we're going to nation build is just straight up not understanding the idea that democracy isn't cheap, because it's a less stable system of government than dictatorship. And if you have a poor country, then your country is going to be less stable. So you need a more stable system. It's why we didn't have democracy in the Middle Ages. And like when Poland tried it, they were trounced by their neighbors.
Right. This is part of the problem. This is part of why the right says that the left hates the country and the left says that the right is ruining the country. I feel that part of this sci-fi belief that I'm saying of telling people, right, you hit us once, don't hit us again, or we're gonna hurt you.
Right.
Is that we're not the shining city on the hill anymore. I mean, were we ever? I don't know, but I think there was a time that at least the general society thought that we were and believed in trying to become that. But now I think a lot of people basically believe in keeping people down in order to keep themselves up.
Yeah, well, I think
before it went on without people knowing it, but now that people know it, they're just all like, "Oh, that's great, yeah, repress them."
Yeah, I think the shining on the hill, city on the hill thing is, I think we have this thing now where we like exemplify everyone wanted to come here because America's great, and they therefore conflate that greatness with we are a moral paragon, when in fact our greatness is due to our massive wealth, and our massive wealth is built on genocide and exploitation. Like people want to come here because we're rich, and we're rich because we screwed them, the people who want to come here. So or the people who already were here, so I think we're great. I think we're the city on the hill. I think the city on the hill is built on a mausoleum of bones.
Yeah, well, I think that's true for all societies at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you're either rich and built on a mausoleum, or you're not rich and you're built on a mausoleum, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's better to be the former, but that's not to say that all countries have equal sins. Uganda,
no, of course not.
Uganda never became the British Empire and colonized like 2/3 of the world. They don't have that blood on their hands, and we do.
Right. Given the opportunity, though, that country specifically would have.
Well, sure. I mean, because every country is populated by people.
Right.
Yeah. And human nature doesn't change.
No, I guess it doesn't.